Part 8. Why does he do that? The worldwide bestseller on domestic violence and abusive men. The abusive man's problem with anger is almost the opposite of what is commonly believed. The reality is, your abusive partner doesn't have a problem with his anger. He has a problem with your anger. So one of the basic human rights, one that the abuser takes away, which is your right to be angry with him. No matter how badly he treats you, he believes that your voice shouldn't rise, your blood shouldn't boil, and the privilege of rage is reserved for him alone. Abuse can make you feel straitjacketed. You may develop physical or emotional reactions to swallowing your anger, such as depression, nightmares, emotional numbing, or eating and sleeping problems, which your partner may use as an excuse to belittle you further or make you feel crazy. So many women actually develop autoimmune diseases or digestive issues if they're in an abusive relationship. And he actually uses all of this, again, weaponizing it against you as a victim. Or if you are so exhausted mentally and physically, they call you lazy. He considers himself above reproach. On some level, he senses, although it's not necessarily consciously, that there is power in your anger. If you feel and express your rage, which you rightfully should do if you are being abused, you will be better able to hold on to your identity and resist his suffocation of you. He tries to take away your anger in order to snuff out your capacity to resist his will. Finally, he perceives your anger as a challenge to his authority, to which he responds by overpowering you with anger that is greater than your own, a way of domination basically. In this way, he retains the exclusive right to be the one who shows anger. So in many abusive homes, assuming the perpetrator is the father, he is the only one who has the right to be angry. The wife or the children, their anger is not tolerated and not accepted. He isn't abusive because he is angry. He's angry because he is abusive. The abuser's unfair and unrealistic expectations ensure that his partner can never follow all of his rules or meet all of his demands. The result is he's frequently angry or enraged. His entitlements would just keep producing more anger. His attitudes are what needs to change. Reality number 3, he twists things into their opposites. So this is a case study of a physically violent client that Lundy Bancroft has called Emil. And you will see just how distorted an abuser's mind works. Okay? This is what he says. One day, Tanya went way overboard with her mouth, and I got so pissed off that I grabbed her by the neck and put her up against the wall. With his voice filled with indignation, he said, and then she tried to knee me in the balls. How would you like it if a woman did that to you? Of course I lashed out, and when I swung my hand down, my fingernails made a long cut across her face. What the hell did she expect? Wow. Can you see? If someone grabs you by the neck and shoves you up in the wall, and not only that, scratches you across the face as a means of self-defense, I think trying to kick them in the balls is perfectly justified, as you could literally be suffocated in that moment. However, this abusive client is so indignant that she tried to do that to him, to kick him in the balls, and he acts as the victim. Yeah, this just gives you an idea of how they think. Okay? They can do the most horrendous things to you, abuse you for years in many different ways, emotionally, physically, sexually, verbally, and then somehow they twist reality and they end up being the victim. The abuser's highly entitled perceptual system causes him to mentally reverse aggression and self-defense. The abusive man totally dominates arguments. He repeats himself like a broken record. One thing in an abuser's mind is that the woman should be listening and not talking. That's one of their beliefs. When Lundy Bancroft challenges his client to stop bullying their partners, this is what he says, they twist my words around just as they do their partners. They accuse me of having said things that have little connection to my actual words. An abuser says, you're saying I should just lie down and let her walk all over me? Because Lundy told this client that intimidating his partner is unacceptable, no matter how angry he is. He says, so you're telling me that our partners can do anything they want to us and we aren't allowed to lift a finger to defend ourselves? Because his partner told him she was sick of his friends trashing the house and she should clean up his mess. Then Lundy challenged him by saying that is no excuse to call her a disgusting name. And he says, your approach is that whatever she does is okay because she's a woman, but because I'm the man, there's much stricter rules for me because I pointed out his double standards and insisted that he should live by the same rules that he applies to her. The abusive man has another reason to exaggerate and ridicule his partner's statements. He wants to avoid having to think seriously about what she's saying and struggle to digest it. He feels entitled to sort her down like a fly. Reality number 4. He disrespects his partner and considers himself superior to her. The common thinking of many abusive men is that he tends to see his partner as less intelligent, less competent, less logical, and even less sensitive than he is. He often has difficulty conceiving of her as a human being. And there's a tendency in abusers to objectify and depersonalize a woman. Most abusers verbally attack their partners in degrading, revolting ways. And he gives a lot of examples of things that they would call a woman. They assault her personality, basically degrading her down to her sexual body part. Abusers make their partners feel both debased and unsafe. Objectification is a critical reason why an abuser tends to get worse over time. As his conscience adapts to one level of cruelty or violence, he builds to the next. By depersonalizing his partner, the abuser protects himself from the natural human emotions of guilt and empathy, so that he can sleep at night with a clear conscience. After a few years in a relationship, his abusive clients can reach a point where they feel no more guilt over degrading or threatening their partners. Abuse and respect are diametric opposites. You do not respect someone whom you abuse, and you do not abuse someone whom you respect.